America loves to tell its story as a miracle. A young nation, born from freedom, rising purely through hard work and bravery. But history is rarely that clean. Behind every great power is a shadow. And America's rise was no exception. In the late 1700s, the United States wasn't powerful at all. It was weak, divided, broke, and surrounded by empires that wanted it gone. So survival demanded something dangerous: compromise. From the very beginning, America made quiet deals with bankers, industrialists, and foreign powers. Freedom was promised to the people, while power was negotiated behind closed doors. As the 1800s began, America expanded westward. But this expansion wasn't empty land waiting to be claimed. It was taken from native tribes forced off their homes, from wars rarely remembered, from treaties broken as soon as they became inconvenient. This land created wealth. And wealth created influence. Then came industry. Factories, railroads, steel, oil. America didn't just grow, it consumed. Workers labored in brutal conditions, children worked long hours, and unions were crushed violently. But the engines of power kept running. By the time World War I arrived, America had learned something crucial. Wars don't just destroy nations, they create them. While Europe burned, America sold weapons, supplies, and loans. By the time the war ended, the U.S. wasn't just a nation, it was a creditor to the world. World War II sealed the transformation. The war devastated entire continents, but America's homeland remained untouched. Its factories multiplied, its military expanded, and its currency became king. But power always demands payment. Behind the victory parades were secret intelligence programs, silent interventions, and proxy wars fought far from American soil. Governments were overthrown. Resources were controlled. Influence spread quietly, efficiently, relentlessly. The Cold War wasn't just about ideology. It was about dominance. It was December 17, 1903. A cold, windy morning in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. No reporters. No cheering crowds. No headlines waiting to be printed. Just two brothers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, standing beside a strange wooden machine that looked more like a toy than a revolution. At the time, experts believed human flight was impossible. Newspapers mocked the idea. Scientists dismissed it. Governments ignored it. Yet that morning, Orville lay flat on the wing, started the engine, and lifted off the ground, for 12 seconds. Only 120 feet. Barely longer than a basketball court. But in those 12 seconds, something happened that would change the entire world forever. For the first time in history, a controlled, powered airplane carried a human through the air. No one realized it then, but the modern world had just been born. That tiny flight led to global travel, international trade, space exploration, modern warfare, emergency rescue, and a connected planet where continents feel closer than ever. People said flight was impossible. Experts laughed. The world wasn't ready to believe. But belief doesn't need permission. On December 17, 1903, a wooden machine rose into the air only for seconds, only for a short distance. Yet those seconds shattered every limit humanity believed in. From that moment came airplanes, global travel, space missions, and a world without unreachable places. On a cold morning in October 1962, the world unknowingly stepped closer to total annihilation than ever before. The United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a silent standoff that history would later call the Cuban Missile Crisis. But at the time, most Americans were going to work, sending their kids to school, and living normal lives completely unaware that nuclear war was only minutes away. Just 90 miles from Florida, the Soviet Union had secretly placed nuclear missiles in Cuba. These weren't ordinary weapons. Each missile carried the power to destroy entire cities like New York, Washington, D.C., and Miami in seconds. When U.S. spy planes finally captured photographic proof, President John F. Kennedy was handed images that would chill the nation's leadership to its core. Inside the White House, panic was carefully hidden behind calm faces. Military generals demanded immediate airstrikes and a full invasion of Cuba. Many believed war was inevitable. One wrong move, one misunderstood signal, and nuclear missiles would rain down on American soil. For 13 days, America stood on the edge of extinction. U.S. Navy ships surrounded Cuba, enforcing a tense naval blockade. Soviet submarines lurked beneath the ocean, armed with nuclear torpedoes. What few people know is that one Soviet submarine, running out of oxygen and cut off from communication, nearly launched a nuclear weapon believing war had already begun. Only one man aboard refused to authorize the launch. His hesitation may have saved the world. Meanwhile, children practiced nuclear attack drills in classrooms. Families built backyard bomb shelters. Radio broadcasts prepared citizens for the unthinkable. Behind closed doors, Kennedy and Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev exchanged secret messages, desperately searching for a way out that wouldn't destroy humanity. Finally, at the last possible moment, a deal was reached. The Soviet Union agreed to remove the missiles from Cuba. In return, in the middle of the 20th century, there was one year when the United States reached a level of power the world had never seen before. It wasn't just military strength. It wasn't just money. It was influence, fear, hope, and control, all at the same time. That year was 1945. World War II had just ended. Europe was shattered. Entire cities lay in ruins. Empires that had ruled for centuries collapsed in months. And standing almost untouched by destruction was the United States of America. At this moment, America produced over half of the world's industrial output. Its factories ran day and night. Its ships ruled the oceans. Its economy dwarfed every other nation combined. Then came the moment that changed history forever. The atomic bomb. In August 1945, the United States became the first and only country to use nuclear weapons in war. In a single flash, the balance of global power shifted. The world realized something terrifying. America now had the ability to end civilization itself. But power didn't stop there. America designed the post-war world. The United Nations. The World Bank. The International Monetary Fund. The dollar became the global currency. American culture, movies, music, and ideas spread everywhere. For a brief moment in history, no nation could challenge the United States. Not economically. Not militarily. Not politically. This wasn't just dominance. It was total influence. And yet, this peak was also fragile. Because absolute power creates fear. And fear creates resistance. Within years, the Cold War would begin. Rivals would rise. The world would divide. But for that 1 year America stood alone at the top of the world. In the early 1940s, the world was starving. Entire countries were on the edge of collapse. Crops were failing. Wheat diseases were spreading fast. Experts warned that mass famine was unavoidable. Millions, possibly hundreds of millions, were expected to die. And while the world panicked, one quiet American scientist got to work. His name was Norman Borlaug. He wasn't famous. He didn't want attention. But he believed something radical, that science could outpace hunger. At the time, wheat crops were weak. A single disease could wipe out entire harvests. Borlaug spent years crossbreeding wheat, failing again and again until he created something new. A wheat plant that was shorter, stronger, and resistant to disease. It produced more grain, and didn't collapse under its own weight. People laughed at him. Governments ignored him. Some experts even said his work was dangerous. But Borlaug didn't stop. In Mexico, his wheat doubled harvests. Then tripled them. Next came India and Pakistan, countries facing catastrophic famine. Food supplies were so low that experts predicted millions of deaths within years. Borlaug personally traveled there. He trained farmers. He fought politics, corruption, and fear. And then the impossible happened. Food production exploded. Famine disappeared where starvation once ruled. Countries that were importing food suddenly had surplus grain. Children who were expected to die, survived. Historians later estimated that Norman Borlaug saved over 1 billion lives. Let that sink in. More lives than any general. More than any king. More than any president. Yet most history books barely mention his name. In 1970, Borlaug received the Nobel Peace Prize not for ending a war, but for preventing one. Because hunger fuels conflict, and food creates peace. Until his death in 2009, Borlaug stayed humble. He said he didn't save the world, he just helped feed it. Today, every grocery store, every full plate, every meal we take for granted is part of his legacy.